Yeah, I think Gerald Horne is the first author, or the first historian that I've read who combines the kind of native experience. He begins kind of backwards. He kind of does it in a backwards way, where he begins with his first book is the Counter Revolution of 1776, which is
Mm-hmm.
wonderful, but it's not entirely
This one.
it's
Got it
not
right here.
entirely inclusive of indigenous people, but it's telling it
Mm-hmm.
from this kind of African experience.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he goes back a little bit further
Mm-hmm.
with the apocalypse of settler colonialism, where he begins to actually
One.
explore,
Yes.
where he begins to explore these convergences of indigeneity or indigenous and African experiences, specifically around the question of slavery. And
Mm-hmm.
he actually gives, I think a very good analysis of the differences of African slavery versus native slavery, but
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless acknowledges that that native slavery did exist and it is a form of genocide. And then, of course, he goes even back further, delving further back into the dawning,
Mm-hmm.
the dawning of the apocalypse of settler colonialism, where he really, which I think is my favorite of the three books.
Mm-hmm.
I think the argument in 1776 is strong, and I really like it, and it's so useful in understanding the United States. But the reason why I like the dawning of the apocalypse is because it's such a deep history that we're not, even as historians, we're not allowed to like go back that far and to really kind of like flesh out the origins of race and
Mm-hmm.
whiteness. And
Mm-hmm.
he does something that I think pisses a lot of people off. And he historicizes whiteness and roots it in both religion as well as in Europeanness. And
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if you wanted to maybe elaborate a little bit on that a little bit more, because he does talk about this kind of like, um, he does talk about the sort of the Iberian roots of the Spanish, but it wasn't really Spain at the time, but the Iberian roots of racism and the
Mm-hmm.
differences between Jews and Muslims in this
Mm-hmm.
particular context.